Welcome into another episode of Building the Pride. I'm your host, Drew, and I'm riding solo today. And we today are going to be looking over what the off season, what the plan in the off season, quote unquote, has been thus far for the Detroit Lions. So let's take a making sense of the off season in Detroit. And then, yeah, there we go. All right, so let's see what we can make sense out of. So let's figure it out. So I think that so far, I would say that people that I have talked to or that have come and talked to me about, Drew, what's going on? What is the plan the Lions are working on? And I've had to go back several times and reevaluate what I think the plan is. So we will take a look at that today. So I'm just going to go to Pride of Detroit here, and I'm going to pull up. They have a free agency tracker, which I think has been quite helpful. And we'll go through the tracker and kind of discuss what we think Brad is up to. What is going through Brad's mind, so to speak. I don't know if you guys are getting the wind like I'm getting it, but there is a lot of wind. So if you hear anything weird coming through the stream, that's probably what it is. The terrible, terrible wind, the high winds. Okay, so let's. Oops, wrong way. Okay, let's start on a positive note. What are the additions to the Lions roster thus far? Well, they Kyle Allen went and joined his buddy Josh Allen in Buffalo on a 2-year deal. So the Lions brought back Teddy Bridgewater. And I don't know. Hey, what's up, Joseph? I don't know that this is a good or bad move, to be honest. I mean, I think that Jared Goff has proven to be like relatively healthy, doesn't get hurt, doesn't have a lot of nagging injuries. He plays all the games. The Lions are careful with Goff. They don't let him play during the preseason. So the backup quarterback has not had to make an impact. And if Teddy Bridgewater were required to step in and play, he has been a starting quarterback in the NFL before. So I would say lateral move from Kyle Allen to Teddy Bridgewater. You could even, I think people that are, you could be excited by this. You could say, okay, Teddy's the backup quarterback I preferred over Kyle Allen last year. So I'm sure there's a group of people out there for that. Cade Mays, center from the Carolina Panthers, 3 years, $25 million, $8 million a year. Seems really good, solid contract. This is the one player that I think the Detroit, quote unquote, needed to add. Not that Cade Mays is particularly that guy, but that they needed to have a starting quality center on the roster. And now they do. So this was a good price, considering that it is something like, 3.5 times less what Tyler Linderbaum got from the Raiders. Tyler Linderbaum, just real quickly, Tyler Linderbaum's contract from the Raiders is so unbelievable that I couldn't really speak for a moment or two after I saw it. So he's getting an annual average value of, and we'll have to see how it's actually structured, but the AAV is $27 million a year. So not only is he the highest paid center, he's the highest paid interior offensive lineman in the NFL. That's crazy. So just to kind of give you an idea of how crazy it is, The second highest paid center in the NFL is Creed Humphrey with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's making $18 million a year. So Linderbaum got 50% more than the current, at the time, highest paid center in the NFL. That contract is so big that I do not think it can be precedent setting. So, like when a future centers enter free agency, they will get nothing close to what Tyler Linderbaum got. I mean, it is the Raiders. God bless them. The Raiders are going to pick Fernando Mendoza. They want to have a quality offensive line in front of that kid. I applaud them for going out and making the move, but that is very serious money. Okay. Larry Borom from the Dolphins. I've heard that the contract is $5 million for this season. I could be wrong about that. I have to double check my sources, but this reads to me like the new Dan Skipper and the emergency left tackle, if necessary. I've heard today that the speculation is that the Lions are comfortable going into the start of the season with Larry Borom being the starting left tackle of the team, which I would be unbelievably furious with. If I guess it would depend on the draft class. If you hit on a player that you otherwise, I feel that the Lions are as locked into drafting an offensive lineman in the first round as they have ever been locked into picking any position in the Brad Holmes era. So the only thing that's if Larry Borom is the starting left tackle, I need the Lions to get some kind of like premium player that fell in the draft. Sonny Styles, which seems unbelievably unlikely. Caleb Downs. I would prefer an impact defensive player if Larry Borom's going to be the left tackle of the Detroit Lions. So let's hope that that's not the case. The David Montgomery replacement is Isaiah Pacheco, 1 year, $1.8 million. That's very cheap. That's just a little bit more than the vet minimum. He is a violent runner, and I think that the fans in Detroit will like the way that he runs. But this says to me that the Lions went out and got a player who would be accepting of getting the ball 5 to 10 times a game. And he, in my opinion, Isaiah Pacheco does not do the same things that David Montgomery does. They both run hard, but David Montgomery is the kind of running back who is like very, very thick in their lower half, like the drumstick thighs, that we've heard about. Powerful, like moves the defender backwards, right? And having watched, Isaiah Pacheco when the Chiefs were on, I don't get that same feeling from him, although I do think that he is going to give 100% of everything that he has every single snap. Lions maybe want Walker from the Packers. Right now, Rasheed Walker seems to be near the top of the available free agents left, and at this point, I would say the Lions are allowing the free agent market to marinate, meaning that they want players to understand that the reason that they are unsigned is because their asking price is not realistic when determined by the free agent market. So, like, to give you an example, let's say Rasheed Walker was asking for $20 million a year, just to pick a nice round number. The Lions are going to say, you've been asking for that price for a week, or not even a week, 5 days. and no one's bitten. So we're going to offer you less, some amount less, right? That we're comfortable offering for you particularly. And, take it or leave it, you know. So I think there's still a chance that Taylor Decker could come back if he's willing to take less. I think there's a chance that Rasheed Walker from the Packers, but would be a replacement. But like, I don't think the Lions are in the market to have their long-term left tackle be signed on the second or third wave of free agency. I think it's more likely that they've got Borom as like the placeholder, and that they're going to go to the draft to find the long-term answer. I don't know that, but possibility. And then they have signed defensive back Christian Izien. I've been watching football most of my life and watching the NFL draft for the last 25 years, and I have no idea who this player is. I have never heard this player's name before. So I've heard that he is a good special teamer and probably a backup for the safety room. And if that's the case, then okay, that's no big deal. I'm not excited by that pick at all. Okay, so they acquired Juice Scruggs via trade. So this guy, Scruggs, former second-round pick, went to Penn State. He can play any of the interior offensive line positions. So I think that he's going to be your primary backup for anything on the interior. So like I would say I would liken him to Coyote Awoshika over the last couple of years, who's a free agent and has not been brought back so far. This next group, I don't understand at all, except for Graham Glasgow. So the Lions released Graham Glasgow. They saved $5.5 million. Okay, makes sense. He was not very good last year. They released Taylor Decker. I don't understand this one at all. I don't get it. So Decker makes the decision to come back. The idea of a rookie or Borom at left tackle for a Super Bowl run seems crazy. Yep, agreed. But I mean, I think if you go down the rookie route, I think that is we're trying to get the salary cap back to a more flexible position. That's the positional versatility model. I don't know that Brad's really ever adhered to that model. But if you let's we're going to do a mock draft in a little while, but like let's say that like Caden Proctor is on the board at 17, or I don't know. I really like the kid from Arizona State, Max Ahenachor. Hey, what's up, Brian? If you took either one of those kids and plugged them in at left tackle, I mean, like you might as well plug them in at left tackle. I don't like the idea of like starting a guy who's only ever played tackle at guard for one season to season him up. Just play him at the position that he's going to play and like help the learning curve. So anyways, they released Taylor Decker. What it sounds like happened here is Taylor Decker decides to come back. The Lions then approach him about a restructure or taking a pay cut. Taylor, if it was a restructure, I would think that Taylor Decker would just be like, sure, pay me my money up front. He doesn't have any guaranteed money left on his contract. I don't know why you would turn that down. So it seems like there's some meat still left on the bone as far as like what happened with Taylor Decker. But he then says, well, if I then believe, and this is speculative, that they said, if you're not going to take a pay cut or a restructure, we can't guarantee you that you'll be the starter. And he's like, well, I came back to start, so if you're not going to start me, release me. So they did. Okay, so they saved 11 million bucks, and I believe that release got them cap compliant. But now you don't have a left tackle, so it's like he retired. Then they released Josh Paschal. This one just doesn't make any sense to me at all. I think they liked their alternative to him more than paying him full price. The last guy who was in his emotional place retired after the second wave of free agency. Are you referring to Frank? I think they like their alternative to him more. I can't imagine them liking the alternative more because I don't know what the alternative is. If the alternative is Larry Borom, I just cannot believe that they like Larry Borom more than Taylor Decker. And if the alternative is going into the NFL draft and drafting a kid, I can't believe watching how Brad Holmes has operated the last 4 years that he would be comfortable pigeonholing himself into that position. And then, or if their alternative is to sign a Rasheed Walker type player to be the starter for a year or 2 years or what have you, they have already said that Taylor Decker is too expensive at $11.6 million. So I cannot believe that they are willing to pay more than $11.6 million per year to whomever they sign. And right now, a guy like Rasheed Walker should have some leverage on the free agent market because he's I'm the top guy on the market right now. So there's no way it's Borom. They are drafting a right tackle and likely signing another. So you believe that they will switch Penei Sewell to left. Is that what you're saying, Brian? So anyways, Josh Paschal, he was hurt last year, but he was in the last year of his rookie deal. And there is some provision in the CBA that says if you are hurt all year, effectively, your last year of your whatever deal you're on carries forward to next year. So they were going to pay him nothing, very little, to just have a guy that can play inside and outside if he's healthy, right? And so they have, with all three of these releases, they have created. Miller could plug and play at right tackle. That's true. Blake Miller. They could, with all three of these releases, they have created a gap in the roster that they now have to go out and fill. So I don't understand releasing these players in particular. Glasgow is about the one that I can get closest to because they traded for Scruggs in the Montgomery trade. So Decker is saving $11 million. His cost is 18. Brad likes to have starters everywhere before the draft, which means edge, a tight end, a safety, and another tackle. It's entirely possible. But considering that the Lions had the quote unquote ability to restructure players to free up cap space as much as almost any other team in the NFL. And then they went ahead and they restructured Goff to become cap compliant. I think they're close to $40 million under the cap right now. And we can double check on that figure. But saving 11.6 is, it's still a savings, right? It's still a savings, but it's in comparison to your ability to restructure players to free up cap space, it's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. And so the comparative upside of saving 11.6 million to having a player of Taylor Decker's caliber on the roster next year is, to be honest, quite shocking to me. To me, this says that there is some disconnect between the front office and Taylor Decker. That's what this move signifies to me. Okay, we've talked about David Montgomery being traded. I thought that they got a good return for David Montgomery, but I still think that David Montgomery was the best thing in that trade, the best player in that trade, the best. I'd rather have David Montgomery than the picks that we got. But he's gone. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. Okay, Lions free agents that they have re-signed. They have re-signed Tom Kennedy. Fine, he's a practice squad player. They re-signed Rock Ya-Sin for 1 year, $4 million. He probably earned that last year from the way that he played, but considering that they were paying him something like $1.3 million last year, they're now paying him 3 times what he played at last year. So I don't know if that's really as big of a deal as people are making it out to be. Malcolm Rodriguez is back. Nowatzki, Jacob Sawyers, who's the kick returner right now on the team. Guard center Michael Neese, who's never done anything for this roster. And Nick Whiteside, who has come in and played pretty well when asked to. They applied an extended restricted free agent tender to Jake Bates, which was probably good. I like Jake Bates. I want him on the team. Players that have signed other places. Kyle Allen signed with the Bills. It makes sense that he's good friends with Josh Allen. Khalif Raymond to the Bears was a disappointment. Roy Lopez back to the Cardinals was a disappointment. Al-Qadim Muhammad signed with the Bucks, and Alex Anzalone also signed with the Bucks. Tyrus Wheat went back to the Cowboys. Grant Stewart signed with the Rams, and Amik Robertson signed with the Commanders. So here's the thing I want to talk about with these players. So last year, let's start with Anzalone. Last year, the Lions paid Alex Anzalone, I think, just north of $7 million. So if you look at, he's playing in Tampa Bay now for 8.5. So the difference between Alex Anzalone being, which I'm fine with Alex Anzalone going to Tampa Bay, like it doesn't bother me, but here's what kind of bothers me. You could have retained Alex Anzalone for somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million more than what you were paying him last year. And that just sounds like normal cost of living inflation because the salary cap went up. Like, I don't know that that's, so the salary cap went up by something like what, 18 million bucks, 20 million bucks this last year. And if you identified 15 players on your team that you're like, we'll offer you $1 million more per year to retain you on the roster and use up our cap savings that way. Well, that's an excellent question. I'll address that here in a second, Brian. That's because I would hope that it does. But my point with Alex Anzalone and some of these other guys is you could have had these guys for effectively nothing. Like the difference between last year's salary cap and this year's salary cap spread over 10 to 15 players. So like, Roy Lopez, could you Roy Lopez was your backup nose tackle last year. DJ Reader is also a free agent. So you went from having Tyleik Williams, DJ Reader, and Roy Lopez to having Tyleik Williams for what? $5 million? $4 million difference? I don't know. Tyrus Wheat, could you have retained, if you'd offer him $2 million bucks? Could he have been a depth player for you? Alex Anzalone could be on this roster if they ponied up another $1.5 million a year, maybe. Grant Stewart led the team in special team snaps last season. Did you not want to retain that guy? And then Amik was your starting nickel and ended up having to play outside corner because of the injuries sustained over the course of the year. So now they are slotted to get a 6th round pick, compensatory pick for Amik Robertson in the 2020 27 draft, so the year after this upcoming draft, and they are slotted to get a 7th-round comp pick for Raymond in the same year. So, but like all of these guys, seems like you could have had retained some of them if you had wanted to for very little money, very little additional money. So what it says to me is that Brad has planted a flag and or drawn a line in the sand is probably a better analogy, and said, here's the line, like if you want to play for what we feel you're worth, then you can be here. And if it's anything more, then there's no wiggle room. It's a hard line. And we've let a lot of, I think, quality players go. Like Kyle Allen was a quality backup. Khalif Raymond was an all-pro 2 years ago. We went from 3 nose tackles to 1. Al-Qadim Muhammad was a 10-plus sack player across from Aiden Hutchinson on 500 snaps. Alex Anzalone is your starting little linebacker. Grant Stewart was a special teamer that you made a point to bring in last year. And Amik Robertson was, the kind of player that like offered you versatility at multiple spots in the defensive backfield. And like they're all gone now. So what is the plan to fill the gaps left by these players? Because the Lions have 9 picks, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys left. So if you don't want to get better at left tackle and just fill these holes, now there's so many more holes than needed to be. And you add this to like the guys that they released, like we're up to 11 guys. I have not seen a random edge have 2 good years for the Lions. I'm glad we let AQ go. But they played him only in pass rush situations, and he had 10 sacks across from Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, like that's for the contract that he got from the Buccaneers was 1 year up to $6 million. I mean, how many guys capable of getting 10 plus sacks in a season can you get for less than $6 million? And he already lives in Detroit and plays for your team. I mean, like, it's not like, oh no, Al-Qadim Muhammad left the Lions, but like the value of him leaving for what he signed for leads me to believe that like Detroit was just like, we're totally fine with you going. And I'm just like, but how are you, like, just from like, even like from a Moneyball kind of perspective, I'm like, what's your plan to get back that production? Because I don't see it right now because they're not signing anybody in free agency. There's a better chance we'll find another this year than he repeats for us. I would not be sad if he came back. I was just hoping to find a better answer. I mean, that's a great way to phrase it, Brian, is like, I'm hoping to find a better answer. How are we going to do that? Right. So that's interesting. So the guys that are left unsigned, CJ Beathard, he was your practice squad QB. Zylstra, Fursker, Ricci, those are a lot of third stringers that ended up playing for us last year. Jamarco Jones, he's hurt. Chris Hubbard, Tristan Colon did nothing. Aoshika has been the guy that they basically have gone to as an interior. I guess Lacey is going to be productive. Lacey. You've piqued my interest. Lacey. Tyler Lacey. He might have to be. Productive. So K.O. Yawashika, DJ Reader, Miles Adams, Marcus Davenport, Pat O'Connor, Zach Cunningham, Turner, Mollett, Keenan Garber. Avonte Maddox is not signed? Daniel Thomas, Jalen Mills, DeMonte Kizzy. Of these guys right now, I would make it a point to re-sign Avonte Maddox and DJ Reader. I mean, just give them 1-year deals and keep them on the team. The wind is really bad. That's really scary. Let's see. Future deal signings. So all these players are back. Jabari Small, Jackson Meeks, Cunningham, Horton, Thomas Gordon, Devin. These are Ahmad Hassanine, Lauren Strickland. So and I bet that most of those guys are going to be on the practice squad. So let's answer Brian's question here. Does letting Alex Anzalone go imply a shift to more nickel play? God, I hope so. God, I hope so. The problem is that right now the Lions play more base defense in the NFL than any other team. So right now, and let me bring up PFF here just real quickly, and we'll see what the quote unquote lineup looks like for the Lion, for them. Okay. So on defense right now, like they have Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch listed as starters, and like they're on the roster, right? So, but this is not who's going to be starting. Like Branch will obviously not be starting week 1 for the Lions. That's probably Avonte Maddox if I had to make a guess. And then, but they do play a bunch of base defense, and so let me make this bigger. Nope, I'll make it bigger. I guess that's about as big as it's going to get. So they have Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil. This defensive tackle position is going to be Tyleik Williams. And then now Pascal's off the roster, so I don't even know who the edge is opposite Aiden Hutchinson. Marcus Davenport is not on the roster currently. So I guess this is Hassanine is the next guy up. I don't know. And then Terrion Arnold, we still got his situation that we're figuring out. And DJ Reed are your corners. And then your linebackers are Jack Campbell, who's great, Malcolm Rodriguez, who looked a little rusty coming back from his injury. So maybe he picks back up closer to where he was earlier in his career after a full off season to get back. And Derek Barnes, So, but like, this looks awful to me right now because I think Kirby Joseph's career might be over, unfortunately. I hate being this pessimistic about it, but like we have now gone, like he stopped playing for the Lions last season at week 6. So that was 3 months in season, and now we have gone 2 months out of season, and there's been no update. And like the only thing that I've heard about Kirby Joseph is it is a type of injury that you cannot correct via surgery, and that it causes him pain, and that in order for him to play, he is going to have to simply pain management it. And like I don't know how much pain he's in, but I mean, like he did not look like himself last year at all and could not play. And there's been nothing about like, oh, he had another procedure or like he's progressing through the rehab that the doctors prescribed or the team physicians prescribed or what have you. And like, we're anticipating that he's ready by none of that's happened. So, and that's been 5 months now with just question marks floating around Kirby Joseph. I'm starting to really get worried about him. Branch will come back at some point in season. I'm guessing he'll be on like NFI or PUP for like the first 6 weeks. Kirby's doing acupuncture, no surgery. I know acupuncture's been around for like 4,000 years or something like that, but you're just sticking needles into your body. Maybe just get the surgery, Kirby. And then I think that like DJ Reed is a good number 2 corner, but I also think that Terrion Arnold does not distinguish himself as a number 1 corner. So I think that the entire secondary has some questions to it. So should we play more nickel? Sure. Well, then Derek Barnes comes off the field, and then who is your nickel right now? Because Amik left. So right now, my guess would be it's Ennis Rakestraw, right? If his shoulder's back. So there's that, and then let me change this to a nickel base nickel. So what does this look like? Yeah, so PFF has not kept up with like the free agency moves, so they're still putting Amik Robertson in as your nickel corner. And they just don't have Tyleik Williams listed here at all. So that's interesting. So, but like Tyleik Williams would be in one of these packages, but like Pascal's off the team, Robertson's off the team. You know, the other two guys aren't going to be starting on week one. You know, so then if we look at the offense, you know, you've got J-Mo St. Brown, excellent. Tesla is going to take Khalif Raymond snaps. That makes sense. Laporta should be back by mini camp. Goff is healthy. Gibbs is healthy. Great. Sewell, Ratledge, I would imagine, is now not going to be switched to center. Thank God. Cade Mays, they still have Michael Neese listed here. Mahogany, and then they still have Taylor Decker. So this is going to be question mark, Mahogany, Cade Mays, Ratledge, Sewell. I think that's better. I think from left guard through right tackle, that's better than we had last year. But left tackle is a big, big drop off right now. So I do think that the Lions should play more nickel. My dream is that the Lions would draft Sonny Styles from Ohio State, and then when Brian comes back, they play him at nickel corner, and then you have like a second layer to the defense that is Jack Campbell, Sonny Styles, and Brian Branch. That just gets me going, makes me excited about like the possibilities there. So, but Brian's not going to be starting right away, and looks like Sonny Styles might go as high as 2. So to the Jets. So we'll have to see what happens. So to kind of, now that we've gone through the moves thus far, what I think is happening here is Brad Holmes could have max restructured the available players: Goff, St. Brown, McNeil, Sewell, and splurged, right? Could have gone after Trey Hendrickson, could have gone after maybe a bunch of like $10 to $15 million a year players to kind of fill in these gaps or upgrade. Like, can we find a guy to upgrade over Alex Anzalone or Josh Pascal or Taylor Decker, those kinds of things. He did not do that. So I think that it was going to happen that they restructured Jared Goff. So let's just take a look real quickly at where the Lions stand in cap space right now. So they're currently standing today with a roster of 55 players at $37 million under the cap, and the new league year has begun. So that's their wiggle room that they have right now. I would think that based upon the amount of money the Lions have wanted to use in season for like practice squad elevations, that they're going to want something like $20 million once the season begins in cap space to like their monopoly money, their play around money, right? Their flexibility money. So that would leave Detroit something like $17 million. Well, the rookie class is going to cost something like 10 or 11 million, which leaves about $6 million on the table for them to still use. So I only imagine them Is that going to be 6 vet minimums contracts? Is that going to be one $6 million a year player? So like when I think about those situations, what I come back to is Brad is allowing players who were either previous free agent signings or guys who have hit that kind of like 31, 32-year-old mark, like Alex Anzalone, Al-Qadim Muhammad, to walk, right? And then this year is just going to be a really tiny like restock of the roster. So if that's the case, fine. But I would say the Lions have more prominent needs in this offseason than they have had since like year 3 of the roster. So I'm very curious how they're going to address some of these issues. Now, the way that I would do it, the Lions currently have 9 draft picks. So I would look to trade down multiple times, especially on day 1 and day 2, in order to, if what Brad Holmes is doing is trying to free up roster spots to flood the roster with like rookie contracts this year only, then I would say go and do that to the max. And we'll see what other situations we can solve. So like, all right, so let's take a look at what that might look like. I hope the wind doesn't damage my house. I just fixed up my house and spent thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on fixing my house. Okay, so we're going to do a mock draft here. Mock Draft Hero. Thank you, Detroit Fan Man, for recommending this. And so we're going to see how the board falls, and then we're going to see if we can get a first-round tackle and trade down in the first round. Okay, so there goes Sonny Styles. There goes Freeling. Oh, shit. You agree with experts that next year is a much better. I don't see how it. So, okay. So I think this draft is not heavy at the top of certain position groups, but that there are lots and lots of quality players to be had rounds 2 through 4. That's how I view this draft. So next year, Brian, here's the situation that I think benefits Detroit more next year is that we could have 6 quarterbacks be taken in the first round next year. And if that is the case, then you have all of the, so like right now in this year's draft, you have definitely 1, maybe 2, but probably only 1 quarterbacks being drafted. So there are teams in the NFL who would want a quarterback in round 1 this year. And they're not going to take them because they're just not available at this pick. So like if those quarterbacks are present, think of it this way, that's 5 additional teams that would probably be picking in front of Detroit who would want to spend that premium resource on a quarterback, which means that every other player that they could pick would be pushed down at least 1 spot, right? So the way that I like to think about it is that's 5 players that would potentially fit the Detroit Lions roster that have been automatically pushed down closer to where Detroit is drafting simply because there are a lot of quarterbacks in the class. And so then on top of that, next year, you have guys like Jeremiah Smith, who might be Julio Jones born again, and like edge rushers like Dylan Stewart from South Carolina, and then just a myriad of other players, like quality players who would be fighting for the top of their position groups in this year's class, also declaring because they're just out there. We're finally past all the COVID extensions for like eligibility. So now we have a glut of people coming out. And I think that next year, like if Detroit was picking 17 next year, the quality of player that's going to be available at 17 is going to be leaps and bounds higher. It'll be like picking in the top 10. So the experts, I think that they're 100% correct, because just the overall quality plus quantity in next year's draft is miles beyond this one. I'm sorry, I meant do you, not claiming you stated. Do you agree that experts next year, that next year is a much better draft? Yeah, I think next year is going to. I think next year has the potential to be like a historic draft class for numerous reasons, like number of quarterbacks taken in the first round, quality of quarterbacks, quality of like. I don't know that we've seen a wide receiver like Jeremiah Smith. I don't even want to, in a long time. No, Verizon, I do not want your deal. You know, Dylan Stewart could be the next great pass rusher in the NFL. That kid is amazing. You know, so like I think that both quantity and quality of draft picks in next year's class dwarf what we are seeing this year. Okay, so this is going to hurt my feelings because Caleb Downs is available, and I think adding Caleb Downs to the Detroit Lions would be an excellent move. This is best player available at its core, right? So, however, we are kind of locked in to picking a player. The other guy here that I would take is Vega Iyane, because I like Christian Mahogany fine, but like he has not been good iyane to say you can't take Vega Iyane here. And then if I was to take Vega Iyane from Penn State, I would be looking to trade up in the second round to try and find the last tackle. So I don't know what you guys want me to do. I can either take Caleb Downs, I can take Vega Iyane and then try and trade up in round 2, or I can trade down and try and get a tackle. So you guys tell me what you think would be the quote unquote best move for the Lions here. Oh. I'm going to do a quick check of see if there's been any breaking news. Doesn't seem to be any breaking news. You want to trade down? Okay, we'll trade down. All right. So here are our trade options. We can trade out of the first round and pick up a round 1 next year. That doesn't sound like what we want to do. I can trade down 1 spot and get a 5th rounder, and they're going to take Caleb Downs. Okay, so we have terrible choices. So they're trying to trade up for Caleb Downs, right? So if that's the case, then we are sitting in effectively the same position as we are. That's fine. Don't worry, buddy. We figured out what you meant. You just stay safe and then send those thoughts in when you can, and we'll figure it out. So it's not that I wouldn't love a first-round pick another first-round pick in 2027, but these options are trade out of the first round and miss on everything that we want to do, or I can be compensated with a 5th-round pick for not drafting Caleb Downs, or I can take Ione or a left tackle right now. You mean so this is why mock drafting is fun, in my opinion, because Downs is the best player on this board by a mile. And if Kirby Joseph is not going to look like Kirby Joseph anymore, which I don't know whether or not he will, then Downs is the pick, because you need a guy back there for how the Lions want to run their defense. And Brian's not going to play for the first month or two of the season. So what do we do? At safety, but then of course safety is not exactly the biggest need on the team. Now, I could also take the best offensive lineman on the board in Ione and basically say, Christian Mahogany, you are a backup on this roster. And then this kid slots in next to Cade Mays. And now Cade Mays is flanked by two really solid guards on either side. And you're 4 strong on the offensive lines. Then we get to choose the best 2 or 3 safeties on our roster. Yep, that's true. Or I just draft a tackle. I do not. Okay, so let's do this. We'll draft Caleb Downs, and I'm going to try and trade up in round 2. Okay? Yeah, so they took Tiedemann right after we took Downs. So there goes Ione. There's Lomu. Oh, there goes a Hennicher. That's bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. All right. So let's see. Let's try and trade up with the only guy left on the board is Blake Miller, who Eric Schlitt over at Pride of Detroit. Hey, what's up, Blixery? How you doing, buddy? What's the question mark for? What are we doing? We're doing a mock draft. It's really fun. Always take the potential All-Pro. Joseph is down with Downs. I love this, you guys. You're really pulling through for me here with the chat comments. That's really fun. I mean, it's hard to be upset when you're taking a player of Caleb Downs' caliber. Now, I have heard Eric Schlitt at Pride of Detroit describe Blake Miller as a Taylor Decker clone. Now, he's only ever played right tackle. So, I would, if it was me, I would be drafting him to play left. Yeah, you want Miller? Yeah, I want Miller too. Okay, so we'll trade. So in order to trade, we have to give up our 2nd round pick and both of our 4th round picks. So that means that we do not draft again until round 5. So is everybody on board with this trade? Because this is the only option. I mean, I guess I could try and propose a different trade, but then I'm going to have to trade like a 3rd round pick next year. And I'm just so sick of Brad doing that I can't envision myself doing it. So I'll make the trade. And then we will draft Blake Miller. Which, to be fair, I think that moving up 12 spots and giving up 2 4th rounders is probably fine, Okay, so we have so far. Let me speed this up. So far through 2 rounds, we took Caleb Downs, who is arguably the best player in the draft, and then we traded up to get Blake Miller. So now the offense, then we trade the rest of our picks for a 3rd and take an edge. We'll have to see. Okay, so here we are, round 5, right? Yeah. Okay, so we have Torian York, 5'11", 226. It says he's a linebacker, but those are really more safety stats. He could be competition for competition for Malcolm Rodriguez at will linebacker. Kevin Coleman might be the pick here because he could replace Khalif Raymond as a punt returner. Everyone wants an edge. Okay, so let's take a look at edge. Filter by position, edge players. Okay, so we have Nadame Tucker from Western Michigan University. I believe he is a stand-up pass rusher. 6'2", 247. Let's see. Primary strengths as a prospect are his explosive first step and relentless motor, which contributed to 16 quarterback hurries and 4 forced fumbles this last year. Okay, I like that. Let's see. So that would be going a little bit against type, right? Oh, look at this. They put all of the combine measurements in there. Oh, this site is fantastic. Okay, so this guy is 6'6", 258, 260. So, like, this is closer to, like, the Marcus Davenport measurements that the Lions have gone with. Scouts highlight his exceptional athleticism, speed, and football intelligence that allow him to consistently disrupt opposing offense. So that doesn't really say much. So let's go with this kid from Western Michigan. All right, here we are at 181. And I'm going to take this Kevin Coleman kid from Missouri. Welcome to returning punts for the Detroit Lions. Okay, now I'm going to take this tight end Eli Raridan from Notre Dame because Petzing is probably going to want better tight ends for his like potential 13 personnel looks. Okay, so now let's see. I'm going to take Kalen Black to be our third running back. Oh, this guy's still on the board. Oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take Jason Kennedy from Oregon to be our new nickel. Oh, Carmona's still on the board. Let's see. 29-inch arms. Is that Tucker? Yeah, he doesn't have very long arms. He's not getting under you, right? He's trying to run by you. Hey, peoples. I doubt. Well, I mean, if the season started today, I bet he might be our new nickel. But I would bet Ennis Rakestraw would be the new nickel before that guy. I'm going to take this Fernando Carmona from Arkansas. 23, 6'5", 316, 32 and an 1/8-inch arms, 26 reps. Do I want to do that, though? Mahogany is still our left guard. I don't think I do want to do that. What do I want to do instead? Linebacker? Do we have a linebacker? Yeah, we do, right? There's this kid from USC. Where'd you go? Oh, Eric Gentry. This kid is ridiculous. Look at his arms. 35-inch arms. This kid's arms are sick. Like you should see, like, so I watched him when Michigan and USC played this year. Like his arms look almost alien. They're so long. I mean, it's crazy. Let's see. So 6'7", 221. He's so skinny. 35-inch arms, 10.5-inch hands, 86 and a quarter wingspan. Jesus Christ. So elite sideline to sideline range and the ability to use his significant reach to break up passes and force turnovers. He enters the draft process as a versatile prospect capable of playing multiple linebacker roles in a 3-4 or 4-3. Okay, I'll take the kid from USC. And that's our last pick. I mean, the kid looks like a legit alien. I mean, okay, so what did we do? We took Caleb Downs at 17. We traded up for Blake Miller in round 2. We took Ndamukong Tucker as an edge rush prospect in the 5th round. We have a punt returner, hopefully like a third string tight end for the new tight end room, a nickel corner or like corner competition, and then a linebacker that's probably like a special teamer or like a sub package player. So like all in all, I think that the Lions got one of the best players in the draft, and Ted Hendricks, the Stork, King Julian says draft the freak. I didn't expect to like this draft this much after the big trade up. That's and that's why we do this, right? Like we want to explore different alternatives. Downs and Miller in the same draft is like Sewell and Saint. That's a possibility. So let's try something different this time. We'll see if the board falls a different way, right? Oh, I got it going too fast here. Let's put you back there. And we'll scroll up to see what the board. Okay, so Caleb Downs is on the board this time, so we're not going to do this again. So, okay, Freeling's off the board. Fano is off the board. Mauignoa. This is a pretty chalked list. Except that, wow, Peter Woods. Okay, so let's take Ione, and we'll do the trade up again. This is just for science. So there goes Proctor, there goes Lomu. There goes Miller. So a Hennicher is the target here. 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. Okay, so now let's trade with Cleveland. Cleveland wants the same trade package that we had last time. So we do, okay, so we say accept, we take a Hennicher. And so now what we're doing is we're basically saying we're going to fix the offensive line to such a degree that it's not going to be a problem again for like at least 3 seasons, right? Okay, so let's do this. Let's speed this puppy up. We'll get down to our customary 5th round pick. And then I'm going to do one after this one where I'm just going to try and max value the whole thing. Okay, so we could take Oscar Delp for the tight end room. Same thing with Burkircher. I'm going to take Caden Curry. I love this guy. I think I hate Ohio State, but I love this guy. Holy shit. 22, 6'3", 257, 30 and 1/8 inch arms. And 9 3/4 inch hands. Known for his high motor and violent hands, he has proven effective both in collapsing the pocket and chasing down ball carriers from the backside. While he lacks the elite length that some edge rushers have, his explosive first step and technical proficiency at the point of attack are his greatest draft assets. I really like Caden Curry. I think that he's going to be a contributing player. big trade up. What we do here? So Fan Man, this is our second mock. So in our first mock, Caleb Downs fell to us at 17, and we took him, and then we traded up into the tops. Sorry, we traded up to draft Blake Miller, who we're going to play at left tackle. So in this one, we did basically the same thing, except we took Vega Ione to be our left guard, and then we traded up and got Max Hennichor to be our left tackle of the future in this one. So we're just looking at some different scenarios here. Oh, we're going to take Delp. That was fortunate. And then in this one, I'm going to take Max Llewellyn. He went to Iowa, so we know that the Lions will love him. 23 years old, 6'6", 260, 32 and a quarter inch arms, 9-inch hands, 9'7" broad jump. Let's see here. Relentless motor and technical fundamentals, often being cited by coaches for his high energy style of play. He sets an edge in the run game and utilizes a disciplined approach to pass rushing maneuvers. So this guy sounds like the Marcus Davenport style of edge rusher that the Lions have gone for in the past. Let's see. What is this guy? 6'2", 230. Relentless motor and elite run stuffing capabilities. Traits landed him on the Butkus. Okay, so I need a will linebacker, not a. Kennedy still on the board. Really not much in the way of linebackers. What about this kid from Indiana? Exceptional range and diagnostic skills. Covers a lot of ground. Yeah, this guy sounds like a Lion. And then I really like this kid from Indiana, Kalen Black. I'll just take him. You know, they lost Craig Reynolds. They traded David Montgomery. I have no faith in Sione Vaki whatsoever to be a running back. So, okay. So in this version, we took Vega Iwane. We traded up for Max Hennichor, and then sent us some like roster filling spots. We took Caden Curry as a potential pass rusher, Oscar Delp to fill in the tight end room, Max Llewellyn as like, you know, which style of pass rusher is going to win out in camp. Let's have some competition, you know, because Marcus Davenport's not there anymore. Josh Paschal's not there anymore. You know, Lewis Moore, okay. Kalen Black, okay. So this draft would be Brad Holmes basically saying, no more. I don't want to deal with the offensive line again. You know, so you've signed Sewell and Cade Mays to contracts, and then you would have right guard, left tackle on rookie contracts for the next 4 seasons or next 3 seasons. So then 3 seasons from now, so that's 27, 28, 29, you're probably you would have an unbelievably massive decisions to make because your whole offensive line would need contracts. Like you would be looking at a Hennichor, Vega, and a Hennichor and Vega would still be 1 year away from needing extensions. You'd have to either extend or let Ratledge walk. You'd have to just make a determining factor on Cade Mays, who by then is probably close to 30. So you're probably letting Cade Mays walk, and then you would need to extend Sewell again, which is you're absolutely doing that. Okay, so I'm going to do one more here real quickly, and then I'm going to go. This time, I'm just going to try and get as much value as possible. I have animals crawling inside my downspouts, trying to get away from the wind, and I can hear them. Gross. Through my mic. Okay, so this time we're going to trade down. So I can trade down to 27 and pick up a second rounder. I can trade down to 19 and pick up a fourth. Or I can get 29 and 40. So I would have, this is saying I get 2 picks in round 2. I'd rather do this. Okay. So we trade down. They take Ione. There goes Proctor. Okay. So I can take one of 3 players here. I think I'm going to take Lomu. So he is super young, right? Why is his age not in here? He was a redshirt sophomore, 6'6", 313. That's basically Taylor Decker size. 33 and 3/8 arms, 9 1/4 hands, 82-inch wingspan. Let's see. Lomu's tape reflects strong pass blocking consistency and mobility in Utah scheme, while strength and anchor as a run blocker continue to be areas for ongoing development. So I think that that's fine. You want a pass blocking guy, and then he can add strength, through his rookie contract. So not trade, stop. Draft him. Yeah. So we draft Caleb Lomu, and we've picked up a second round pick. So the way to look at this, in my opinion, is you didn't just draft Caleb Lomu. You drafted Caleb Lomu and the player that you're going to get in the second round. So there goes a Hennicher. Okay, so we've got some picks here. We could. Did that kid? Oh, Jacob Rodriguez. That is a bummer. I would have liked of him to have fallen. Okay, so we have some options here. First of all, let's look at our trade options. I can trade down 6 spots and improve my 5th round pick to a 4th round pick. I can trade down nine picks and get another 4th. I can trade out of this pick and pick up a 2nd round pick next year. Or I can sit. I could take Jadarian Price. I could. This doesn't seem like something that we would do. Let's see. He has explosive acceleration, playmaking ability as a receiver and returner, good vision. So he's an all-purpose threat. He ran a 4.49, 40-yard dash. What's his 10-yard split? They don't list it. Okay, that's fine. We could take. First of all, I like D'Angelo Pons, but you're never going to convince me that a 5'9" corner is take trade 2. Oh, okay. This is in the 2nd round. You're never going to convince me that a 5'9" corner is the right way to go. Gabe Yakas, Malachi Lawrence, Derek Moore. Those are all decent edge options. What was trade 2? Houston trading down. Okay. We'll do that. We'll trade down 9 spots. They took Price. There goes Lawrence. There goes Derek Moore. Okay, so I think what I want to do here is I want to take Yakas. Okay, so 6'4", 260, 21 years old, 33-inch arms, 10-inch hands, 30 reps on the bench. Elite burst and powerful rush repertoire, making him a consistent threat to get to the quarterback. Finished his college career 2nd in Illinois program history with 27 career sacks. Welcome to Detroit, Gabe Yakas. Oh, look, and we get the next pick. So this time I'm not going to trade down. I'm just going to trade. I would like to take Elijah Surratt. This kid, Mike Washington. We could take this guy as your running back. Well, I don't want to do that, though. Who have we picked so far? Caleb Lomu and Yakas. Okay. So I guess where we should go here is AJ Halsey. 22, 6 foot, 215, 4.5, 40-yard dash. I think this is what I want to do just to hedge it on the safety room a little bit. Take AJ. Okay, we are in agreement there. All right, so now we're going to go. We didn't pick. We're not going to pick in round 3. So now we're going to round 4. I'm pretty happy with where we stand thus far. So what's our biggest need? We have corner, perhaps, tight end, linebacker. Linebacker might be our biggest need. It's always nice when you have an all-pro to pair with another linebacker. Oh, Trey's in. That was a bummer. Yeah, I would have liked to have him. Oh, Emmett Johnson. Oh, Chandler Rivers. No. Okay, let's see. So this kid, Brennan Thompson, is the fastest kid at this year's draft, 4.26 40. This kid, Skylar Bell, I quite like. That's just a good player. Does everything well. Not bad at anything. I like both of these corners. Oh, Sam Roush, right? Have we taken a tight end? No, we're taking. He will not be here in reality. He'll be a 3rd-round pick. I'm almost certain. But if he's here on this board, I'm taking him. So and now we get another pick at 118. And this is a pretty easy one for me. I'm going to take this kid from Cincinnati. So 23, 6'1", 320, known for his rare combination of size, quickness, and explosive power, makes him nearly unblockable in one-on-one and is a dominant run stuffer. So like this guy feels like a DJ Reader-esque replacement. Let's just see who else is around right now. I don't like Harold Perkins. I don't like you, Harold Perkins. Well, this kid, Deontay Lawson. This is a... So we could take Deontay Lawson as a potential Alex Anzalone replacement or the run-stuffing nose tackle here as well. The value would appear to be in the nose tackle. So, of course, I'm going to take the linebacker. I talked myself into it. 128. Maybe he'll still be there. He is. Okay, great. It all worked out. I'm great at this. Take that guy. Off we go then. 157. So now we're looking at corner, guard. If Justin Jolie's still on the board at 157, I'm just going to draft him. Of course, 2 picks before naturally. Oscar Delp's on the board, so it looks like interior offensive line and corner. This kid, Markel Bell, would be worth, oh my God, 6'9", 346, 36 and 3/8 arms, smaller hands, 87 and an 1/8 wingspan. He's enormous. Wow. I disagree that we need interior offensive line at this point. Are we truly in a best player available? What do you guys think about this Taylon Green kid? He ran a 4.36 40. Hang on, I got to take this real quickly. This is Drew. Yeah. Yeah.
So in looking at the accounts, the custodian accounts, the last statement that was created was back in December of 2025. Did you receive that statement?
I mean, I probably did.
Okay, so accounts don't create statements automatically every month. It's only when there's any kind of activity in there.
Okay.
So, in looking at the activity for the custodial account, the last time there was something that happened was December 18 of 2025 with a little reinvestment.
Yeah. Would you be able to just print that statement and send it over? That would be great.
I can, yeah, I will do that. And then
Excellent.
the address then is it Concord Street still?
Yes, it is.
5930?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, yep, I'll print out the December statement and I'll send that over.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Mail it, we'll mail it to you.
I don't need it. I need it set. I need it faxed to the number that I left with the person filling in yesterday.
Okay, so not mail. We're gonna fax it to that 866-249-9123.
That is correct.
All right, anybody's attention to anybody?
Jill Walsh, please.
Jill Walsh.
Correct.
WALSH.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Very good, Drew. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye. Sorry about that, guys. I had to move my investment portfolio over to another person. And that's my current investment people. And they're like, why are you moving your stuff over? And I was like, you just need to send the stuff over. Don't don't fuck with me. So, okay. So in the trade down model, we got a lot of players. We took Caleb Lomu as our new left tackle, Gabe Yakas to be the guy opposite Aiden Hutchinson, AJ Halsey to hedge against both Kirby and Brian's injuries. Sam Roush is our new tight end 3, probably tight end 2 after next season. Deontay Lawson can compete with Malcolm Rodriguez for the open will position. Dante Corleone will now back up Tyleik Williams as a nose tackle. Markel Bell is, I just can't, I couldn't pass this kid up where we had him. So, like, that size player with that reach is unbelievably rare. So I just thought, I don't care if Larry Borum's on the squad or not. Like, I'm just going to take this guy and have him be on the roster. And if we have to cut if we have to cut an offensive lineman to keep him, that's fine. I took Taylon Green to be a backup. Armaj Reed Adams probably won't make the roster. Eli Raridan to be in the new tight end room alongside Sam Roush. And then Thaddeus Dixon probably doesn't make the roster. But like, I would do something like that if I'm in this position that Brad Holmes is operating in right now. So that would give us a lot of players at a lot of positions to flood the roster with a bunch of really, really, really cheap contracts. And I like that idea. But it goes against everything I know about Brad Holmes. So unlikely that something like that were to happen. But if it did, I think that it would be in line with what we've seen from him this year, which is more of a cost controlled, quantity over quality approach. And we'll just see. So, anyways, that is the show for today. We will continue to see and monitor free agency coming up. The draft is the 23rd of April, so we're probably 4 and a half weeks out from the draft. Our show will be doing the group mock that we've done a couple of years in a row now, but we are scheduling it for closer to the actual draft. So be prepared for that one, probably in early to mid-April. And then just stay safe and stay warm. It's cold and it's windy outside right now, and that sucks. So anyways, thanks you guys for turning in. I'll see you next week.